Okay, folks, it's just 9 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know we are expecting a fair number of people to join, but respecting everybody's schedules, I think it's important to start on time. So good morning. Welcome to today's webinar on search engine optimization. My name's Jim Danhauser. I'm a volunteer with SCORE, and I just have a couple of introductory items to cover before turning things over to our facilitator for today's discussion, my colleague, Matt Stevens. You see listed on this slide the organizations that provide assistance to us in presenting this webinar. We're supported by the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, as well as by the Chambers of Commerce located in the various towns throughout Cape Cod and the islands, and by the Community Development Partnership, which is located in Eastham on the Cape. As always, we're very grateful to all of these organizations for their ongoing support of our educational programming. For those of you who are not familiar with SCORE, we're a fully volunteer nonprofit organization and a resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration. SCORE's mission is to foster vibrant small business communities through mentoring and education. We've been doing this work since our founding in 1964 by offering educational opportunities like this webinar and by providing mentoring to people who are in business or who are thinking about starting a business. We benefit at the Cape Cod and Islands chapter of SCORE from having over 50 volunteer mentors and subject matter experts, people with a broad array of different business experiences and expertise, all of whom stand ready to provide mentoring assistance to you in connection with your business activities. Importantly, all of that mentoring is absolutely free and completely confidential. So if you'd like to try to take advantage of that opportunity, you can call the SCORE office at 508-775-4884 or go online to www.score.org/Cape Cod to sign up, and we'll get you on the schedule. I also know that many of you on today's webinar come from SCORE chapters in other districts, in other areas in our district. That's a Massachusetts, Rhode Island district that covers the entirety of those two states. Each chapter throughout our district similarly has a broad number of mentors and subject matter experts who can provide mentoring assistance to you. You see the website address for the chapters listed there. To access mentoring assistance, you can click on those websites, go to the Find a Mentor tab, and get started. You also see a reference there to Coastal Community Capital. Coastal Community is a lending organization based on the Cape. It's licensed to do business throughout the state of Massachusetts. We work with Coastal a great deal here on the Cape in helping their clients to better flesh out their business plans and helping our clients to better understand the scope of financing alternatives that may be available to them. So we'd encourage you, if you're thinking about financing, to reach out to Coastal to get a sense for what's available. Finally, just a few procedural rules. All participants other than Matt and myself have been muted. If you have any questions or comments, I'd ask you put them into the Q&A feature. I'm going to track that as Matt proceeds with the discussion, and I'll be posing questions to him as and when they come in to feed them to him so that he addresses them at the same time as the material he's covering. So it's just easier for me to do that if you keep them all in one feature as opposed to my having to toggle back and forth between the Q&A and the chat. We will answer as many questions as we can during the course of the discussion and afterwards. And any that we can't reach because of the exigencies of time, we'll get you written responses afterwards. Be aware that the webinar is being recorded. We'll send a link to that recording to everybody who's registered for the webinar sometime in the next day or two once it becomes available. And finally, we will launch a poll just shortly before the end of the session. I'd appreciate you responding to that poll before you leave. It simply allows us to make sure that we are presenting educational programming that is responsive to the needs of our small business community. And with that, I'll turn things over to our facilitator for today, my friend and colleague, Matt Stevens. So Matt, take it away.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jim. Thank you all for joining us this morning on this beautiful day. I know that SEO and search engine optimization is a pretty major buzzword in the business world right now. And I want to take a second to kind of unpack it. So let's jump right in. There's going to be three main categories that we're going to go over today to really unpack the buzzword and find out really what it means for your business to succeed. First, understanding SEO. What are the main concepts that kind of drive the success you'll have with your SEO, your target market, your competitive advantage, and identifying keywords. Instituting SEO, which means actually putting it to use on your website, on your YouTube, on your social medias, how to optimize your website, how to create quality content, industry outreach or backlinking as it is commonly known, optimizing for local search, which specifically in Massachusetts, wherever you're coming from within this small state, it gets competitive in the Northeast. There's a lot of businesses in a very, very small area. So local search is going to be your best friend. And finally, monitoring and adjusting, which is debatably the most important piece to the puzzle. So first off, understanding SEO. So I'm sure you've probably heard SEO a zillion times. I mean, you've already heard it like 5 times from me within the first 5 minutes of this presentation. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, which is just the process of optimizing any type of search engine. So specifically, it is known for your website or a listing that you have on Facebook Marketplace or eBay, your social media accounts, your YouTube, your Pinterest, just to rank higher in what is known as an SERP or a search engine results page. And it's really based on how you optimize those SERPs in the focal search algorithm is going to put your website on a specific place that's going to match the intent of the person that's searching that keyword or that key phrase. And the higher you are on the page or the SERP, the more people that are going to click and visit your site. There's a lot of factors that go into SEO, including on-page optimization, which include keywords, title tags, meta descriptions, and don't worry, we'll cover all that. Off-page optimization, like backlinking and social media shares, and technical optimization. And this is really the hard part with speed and mobile friendliness, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. But by understanding all of those aspects and putting them into use in your own website, you can start to optimize for the search engine. So best way to start is to start with your target market. Understanding your target market is really crucial to any business, no matter whether you're working on SEO or you're working on getting your first sale. You got to figure out who your demographic is and really aim your marketing towards them. How do you do this with SEO? So you want to create tailored content and you want to test. And there's a lot of different ways that you can go ahead and research your target market. First, you can conduct online surveys or polls, just like we're going to be doing at the end of this webinar, to gather some information, to learn a little bit more about the preferences and the pain points of your market. The next way would be through social media platforms. Complementary marketing channels are going to help you learn more information regarding your target market. So identifying trending topics, hashtags, interests, and how people actually get on your website or get on your social media is really going to help you uncover what to do in the future. Analyzing competitors' websites and their marketing strategies, especially if they are an absolute match. I know we talked to Jay before we jumped in, so he can go ahead and understand what local gyms are doing in order to understand what he should be doing with his marketing and his SEO. Using tools and free tools like Google Analytics and Google Trends or Facebook Insights, participate in online forums like Quora, Reddit, etc., or even local communities, and engage directly with those potential customers. You can even do this on the street. I mean, if you have a pop-up, if you're testing it out like that, or you can conduct keyword research using tools like the Google Keyword Planner or more advanced tools like SEMrush or SEMrush, Ahrefs, Moz, etc., etc. There's a bunch out there. Ubersuggest is another good one. but that's going to give you some clarity and really what you should be aiming for, because your target market is how you start to find those keywords and the key phrases that really matter to them and the questions that they're going to be asking. So what info do you need? So you can't afford to be lazy, because the more information you learn, the easier it is to tailor your SEO strategy. First, age, gender, location. That's great. If you can find that out, it's specifically if you're operating within the Cape, you can find out if they're in Harwich, if they're in Chatham, Truro, Provincetown, you already have one step to understanding where they're coming from, right? But also their age and gender. Better, what is their occupation? What's their income level? Do they have specific ethnicity or religion that really matters to the business model that you're starting? And it really matters to their particular background and culture. And also best is the psychographics and customer personas. And this is the detailed descriptions of each customer that takes months and even years to develop. This is what really, really good marketers are able to do with tools like email marketing, SMS marketing, SEO, etc. And the 6 that I always try to focus on when I'm first starting is understanding specific pain points, what content preferences that they may have, their personal values, their activities within your local community, their purchase timing, and whether or not they've purchased in the past. That's called a lifetime value. Also very good to know going forward. So let me know again, feel free to throw any questions in that Q&A tool and I'll absolutely get to them. But going forward here, constructing a competitive advantage, that really results after you understand your market. After you understand the specific customer personas and the psychographics, or even just the basic demographics, you can start to kind of figure out that competitive advantage. And really what it is a unique edge that allows you to outperform competitors within your area or online, depending on your business scope. And it can be derived from superior products, which is known as differentiation, or marketing strategies such as cost that create value for customers and position your business to be the preferred choice within the local area or on the internet in general, which is the much, much harder one to really attain. But here's how to find it. First, you got to analyze your collected data. What demographics do you have? What characteristics of your customer do you understand? And once you identify patterns, you can kind of start putting that first step in place and try to use that competitive advantage as a way to meet those unmet needs of potential customers. You can identify your unique selling proposition, which is really your differentiation. How are you different from everyone else in your local area or on the internet? How can you position yourself a little bit differently? What's that specific problem that your target market has that maybe similar people within a more larger market don't have, that you can address better than anyone else? Develop and improve those products and services that focus on that unique selling proposition, and then optimize your marketing strategies like SEO. Tailor your marketing and communication specifically to address those preferences and those pain points of your target audience, and really kind of push all the other audiences that even in your mind you think you could potentially attain to the side for now, to focus your marketing on the people that you're really developing that advantage for.
Matt, we have a question. What do you
course.
mean by to identify patterns?
Definitely. So let me give you an example. Say you are a pet store within, let's say, Sandwich, Mass. And you've noticed over the first few sales of a specific day, right? Or consistently over a few weeks within the first day on a Monday, you consistently see a lot of people coming in for dog food, right? That particular situation is one of those patterns that you may want to consider as, okay, if a lot of people are coming in for dog food, maybe you provide some type of promotion regarding that. Or if within you're running a bait shop and a lot of people, specifically, I know if you're tuning in from somewhere on Cape Cod, during striper season, a lot of people are hitting those bait shops just a little bit more. That may be a good opportunity to provide some content regarding that need. Okay, how much should you buy? Where should you go? So those patterns that you can kind of see either on a seasonal basis, on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, or even just within a greater audience are things that you should key on, because those help you build what is known as a customer persona. And that's going to help you with your marketing. And if that doesn't answer your question, I'd be happy to elaborate.
One question, Matt, is it possible for you to make the slides a little bit bigger, because some of the print is small for people to see?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, the bottom, let me know if this, actually, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Can I send the slides over to you at the end, Jim?
Yes, you can. And
Okay.
I'll send them out to people.
So on this one, I apologize that the font is pretty low, but I'll work through each one of these steps here. So the first step to instituting your SEO is to understand what keywords are. And keywords are really the basis for SEO in general, as seen by Google, Yahoo, any social media search engine. They are going to help you understand how you can position yourself for your target market. So by understanding your keywords, what you're looking for are the questions that your target market are asking about your competitive advantage. So specifically, you want to identify a small list of all the words that you see on your website or you see on competitors' websites, and using that market research that you did within the first two steps, start understanding really what people are typing into the search engine that you want to be available on the search engine rankings page. What questions are your target market asking? What information are they trying to find? What products are you selling? And you want to develop what I call a keyword web. There's a reason it's called a website, guys. So you want to craft a list of 1 or 2 core keywords. And what a core keyword is it's a very small, broad keyword that could be from 1 to 3 words maximum that really tell the story of your website in general. So like we were talking about pet store. Pet store's core keyword would be pet store. Bait shop's core keyword would probably be bait and tackle or bait shop. It's that overarching keyword that describes the basic idea of what business you're running. And these are typically what are known as short tail, and we'll get to that. They're going to have high volume, which means a lot of people are going to be searching for them, but they're also going to have a lot of competition, and it's going to be hard for you to really be able to rank right away for that keyword. The fringe keywords are a little bit different. These are the keywords that you're going to be optimizing your service, your about page for, that are a little bit less broad and a little less competitive, but a little bit longer. So for instance, say if we're running a pet shop, you're probably going to be selling dog toys, right? Dog toys probably don't have as much traffic as pet shop. So they're a little less competitive and a little less volume, but easier to rank overall. It's still going to be hard, and they could be short or long tail. So it could be dog toys. It could be chewy dog toys. For instance, for the bait shop, it could be fishing lure, deep sea fishing lures is a great fringe keyword. And then the final one is a niche keyword. And niche keywords you typically want to build content on, either YouTube videos, podcasts. The most popular is the blog, or any other type of content. And those are keywords that are related to your industry, that have low volume and low competition. And these are questions. The basis of SEO is answering your customers' questions. So think about questions that you typically get in your store or online, and answer those questions to the best of your ability in your content. If I'm running a bait shop down in Chatham, Massachusetts, chances are I'm getting a lot of questions about where to go for fishing, right? You can go and write a full piece of content on here's all the places that you can go on Chatham, within Chatham, Massachusetts, to fish for striper. Here's all the places that you can go to fish for fluke, and so on and so forth. And those are the ones that you're going to rank for. Those are the ones that you're going to win a lot of your traffic on. And also, it's going to build your authority on your fringe and your core. So again, craft a list of 1 to 2 core keywords for your homepage, 3 to 6 fringe keywords for your main navigation page, like your service, your products, your about, etc. And then list at least 10 niche keywords for your content. Any questions on that? I'd be happy to.
One question, Matt, is how specific do you recommend the keywords be? For example, interior design versus interior designer.
Yeah, so interior design and interior designer are both going to be core keywords. Those are both going to be very, very hard to rank for. So what we're actually, to answer your question, there's 2 types of keywords in general: short tail versus long tail. Interior design and interior designer are both short tail keywords, which are general search terms with 1 or 2 words that are very, very difficult to rank for. Long tail keywords are a little bit more specific, usually phrases, sentences, or even questions. So to break it down, here's an example: running shoes, right? Running shoes, you're not going to rank for. Nike's going to rank for that. Adidas is going to rank for that. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. Locally, you might actually rank, and we'll talk about that. But chances are nationally, you will not. However, if you write a piece of content on best running shoes for flat feet, you actually have an opportunity to rank because it's long tail, and long tail wins. Don't worry about writing content on short tail keywords. Your content and your optimization efforts should be on long tail keywords. So rather than using interior design, what you may want to do is top 5 interior design trends for 2020, summer 2023, or interior designer, a course in 19. I don't know interior design as well as I probably should for this example, but you really want to worry about specifically what your target market wants to see, your specialty, and combine both of those into a phrase or a sentence that you can actually write some content on. I hope that answers that question. So again, short tail keywords, higher search volume, much more competitive. Long tail keywords, lower search volume, very, very much less competitive. And now we institute the SEO. And this is really the hard part. So now that you have your overarching strategy, you understand really how you want to be seen on the search engine, here's how to start actually taking the steps to ensure that, right? So to start, you got to build your website. And what I would say is I would recommend building it on a website builder. There's a lot of people out there that can code from scratch. Nowadays, you don't need to do that. The ones that I would recommend are WordPress for larger companies or scaling mid-sized companies, and Wix and Squarespace for smaller companies. Wix definitely has better SEO tools than Squarespace. Squarespace looks a lot better and is a little bit better mobilely optimized. WordPress is probably the best for SEO in general. And if you're a company that has more than 50 employees and you have more than 1 location, you need to do WordPress. That's just how it is. So where do we start? So let's take that list of keywords that you just created and start matching them to the right pages. So on your homepage, the center of your brand, you want to use your core keyword. So if you're using interior design, that's going to be your core keyword on your homepage because you are an interior design or an interior designer. Your important navigation pages, like we mentioned, need a fringe keyword. So take the specific styles or the products or the consultations that you have as your products and make sure that you find a keyword that really fits that. So if we're talking about interior design, maybe it would be summer interior design consultation. Or if we're talking about running shoes, maybe it would be light green pickleball running shoes. That's probably a little bit longer. That might be something that would edge on the niche keyword, but something a little less vague. Maybe pickleball running shoes or track running shoes or cross-country running shoes. And then finally, your blogs and products, like we talked about, get those niche keywords. And then after you do that, What you want to do is you want to look at the SEO basics of that particular page. And what that means is that you want to fill out your meta title, your meta description, and at least one on-page placement. And that's the very bare minimum that you can do. To access your meta title and your meta description on Wix and on Squarespace, if you click the page right in your builder, it's going to say SEO basics on it, or it's going to say SEO. Just click that, and right here on the right, this is actually an example straight from Squarespace. So as you can see, you have your search results preview, and that's how your site is going to show up on the search engine rankings page. And underneath it, you have your SEO title and you have your SEO description. So these both say optional, but if you want to be optimized for the search engine, it's not optional. You have to do it. And you want to make sure, if you can, to fit your keyword for that page in both your SEO title and your SEO description. So for instance, if I'm building a page for an interior designer, that's an interior design service, like an interior design consultation, I would honestly have the SEO title be interior design consultation, and then the brand name right after it. And then the SEO description, please join me for an interior design consultation, somewhere within that description. And then that on-page placement, you want to put it in one of your headers. So we're going to talk about that right there. But if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them in between.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions that came in when you started talking about where people should have their websites.
Yes.
One person says, I have WordPress. However, my person working the site is going to move the platform. Does that mean my website won't work anymore?
So that's a very, that switch from WordPress, let me know where you're moving it to. If it's a quality developer, he or she should know specifically how to move it without affecting your SEO. You need to make sure you have mapped URLs, which basically means that your URL and how it looks, say for instance, on my website, chatamoaks.co/about, if your new about page does not have that same URL, it's going to break parts of the website. So you just want to make sure you map those. It's not going to break your website by any means, but one thing that I would consider is making sure that you understand your new SEO and your new website builder better than in order to just make sure the switch is worthwhile. Because if they're switching you to something that's a little bit harder to use, I would strongly suggest not switching at all. You want to make sure that you understand what your developer and what your website designer and what your SEO technician are actually doing on your site, if that makes sense.
Another person asked if they were told that they should switch from Squarespace to Wix or WordPress. She's a solopreneur.
If you're a solopreneur, that's a really a great question. Especially if you're growing, you don't need to switch. The one thing that a lot of people probably say is that Squarespace is a little bit more behind than Wix and WordPress, specifically in SEO. I do a lot of Squarespace SEO and it's very closed off. However, it's not going to affect you as a solopreneur as much as it's going to affect like a landscaping company with 5 different locations. And honestly, if brand design is very important to you, I would honestly say stay with Squarespace, because you can always move your website over. Again, it's a tough process, but just go with what you are able to use best and go from there. Do something that you're comfortable with, because websites, the consistency is everything. Making updates, building content is going to be better for your SEO than having all of those SEO tools in the back end. If that makes sense.
What about Shopify?
Shopify is great. If you're an e-commerce platform, Shopify is a bona fide killer. It's unbelievably good for SEO. It's probably the best one out there. Again, Squarespace and Wix are also very good. WordPress and WooCommerce is pretty good. Shopify is probably the best SEO, e-commerce SEO platform out there right now, and it's only getting better. So again, if you're using something else and you hear me say that about Shopify, that doesn't mean to switch. It just means they're all good opportunities. Pick one that you prefer and build out from there.
I think we want to avoid spending too much more time on various website hosting services.
Yeah,
but
we can talk about it at the end for sure.
One question that did come in is from Jay, actually inherited the website for the gym. How does he tell what builder his site uses?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different tools that you can use. The easiest one is if you actually, that's probably a little bit more complicated. There's a lot of Google extensions. I would just go to just a Google browser and type in how to find out what builder, and it will give you a few Google extensions. The one that I typically use is what is this? And then there's also what built it, I think is another one. Usually I just use my SEO plugin, which is called SEO Quake, but that one comes with SEMrush, which is it's a whole like expense. It's not a free platform. So I think Built This or Built It is probably the best one to use. But sometimes it says right at the bottom of the website, built proudly by WordPress, Wix, etc.
And then one last question, Matt. Please explain meta description and meta titles. Where does one enter them?
Yeah, so on your excuse me, on your website builder, every single page has what are known as meta title and meta description, which only appear to people on the search engine that are looking up your business. They don't appear anywhere else. So the easiest way to enter them is every single page has a meta title and a meta description. So what you'd want to do is on Wix or on Squarespace, on where you see that navigation of your entire site over in small little boxes on the left side, you just want to click those 3 dots next to any of those pages, or just click on the page and it will just say SEO or SEO basics. And sometimes it's called SEO title or SEO description. But really in general, all they are just the specific things that people will see on the SERP, search engine rankings page. WordPress, you can also enter them pretty easily on just within the page on the right side. I would download either Yoast or Rank Math as SEO plugins in order to make that a little bit easier as well.
We had one last question, Matt, which is where would you rank GoDaddy?
GoDaddy as a website builder, don't want to scare you, is not my favorite at all. I think it's very, very hard to use. Same thing with Google, Google sites. They're getting better. Again, you can use whatever you want. But for SEO specifically, both of those are not quite the best. And you're going to have a disadvantage within just your ranking if you use them. So the switch to Wix or the switch to Squarespace, or even the switch to WordPress isn't that crazy. I wouldn't switch if you're comfortable with it, especially if you've built an entire website. Just see how it goes, test it out. And if you're not seeing a whole lot of results, you may want to consider switching. Awesome. So I'm going to jump into the next slide here. So building a page. So on each page, after your meta description, after your meta title, you want to include your keyword in one or a few of these options. Because really what you're trying to do is explain to the search engine what is within this page. What is this page about? Because Google isn't like us. It's getting closer with ChatGPT and Google Bard, but it can't read a page and immediately understand, okay, this is what this page is about. You got to help it out a little. So what you want to do is you want to figure out the intent of the people that are searching. Are they looking to buy something? Are they looking to learn something? Are they looking to go somewhere? And match that. Within your URL structure, like we talked about, the end of your URL, you have, say your website is www.example.com. Each page is going to be its own URL. So it's example.com/ whatever the new page is. So you can put your keyword right there. you could say example.com/dog toys, right? That's your keyword and it's in your URL. Your header tags are those giant, larger text on each one of these pages. So for instance, on this page right here, building a page is my header tag. So if Google were to see this page, it would know immediately, okay, this is about building a page. So what page that is, I don't know, but that's the header tag. So if you can put it in one of your headers and it doesn't have to be your main header, that's a great move forward. And then finally, using relevant keywords throughout your content. And these are what are known as amplifying keywords. So if you're talking about dog toys, maybe you have squeaky toys as an amplifying, or maybe dog leashes as an amplifying keyword, because this is going to tell Google a little bit more, okay, it's about dog toys, and this entire website is about pet toys and pet gear and pet resources. However, make sure you keep track of how many times you use the same keyword, because Google now penalizes people that use your keyword more than around 8 times. I think 8 is probably the highest that I would say. So again, if you use it in your meta title, meta description, URL tag, and one of your H1, H2, H3 headers, that's fine. That's 4 times, maybe another time in the content. But just make sure you don't keyword stuff. Don't put it everywhere, because next thing you know, Google's going to be like, okay, they're really trying to have us rank for this keyword. Maybe let's spin it and we'll penalize them instead. And that's really how you screw up your SEO strategy. So just make sure you use it in the right places and don't put it everywhere, and you'll be just fine. So regarding that intent that I talked about, I know this is a lot. We'll go over some questions at the end. Intent is really when you're going to Google, right? Chances are you have one of 4 intents. Chances are you're either trying to learn new information regarding whatever topic it is you're searching. You're trying to get to a particular website as fast as you can. You're trying to purchase a product, or you're trying to hire someone to do a service for you. Usually those are the only 4 things that people are going to be using Google for. And that helps you as someone who's creating content, creating products, creating services, and building your website on how to optimize specific pages. So, and how to pick keywords as well, because some keywords specifically have commercial intent. Dog toys have transactional intent, because when people search dog toys, chances are they're trying to purchase a product. So just going down the line, informational intent is when people are trying to learn new information. Navigational intent is when people are trying to hit a specific website as fast as they can. Transactional intent are people trying to purchase products, and commercial intent, non-investigation, is people that are trying to purchase a service. So when you're looking at your service pages, your product pages, you want to make sure that you pick keywords and build out for the particular intent for the searchers that you're trying to get to your page. So for instance, on transactional intent, as I'm sure a lot of you guys sell products, you're trying to make, you're trying to help people along. So what you want to do is create clear calls to actions, like easy buttons to follow, showcase product benefits to them, to the value, and really showcase those pain points that you found earlier and how that product can really negate those pain points, and ensure your checkout process is simple and secure, because you can get a ton of clicks on the search engine, but what you really want to do is drive them to actually take an action on your site. Commercial, what you really want to do is very similar stuff. Make those call to actions very easy to follow. If it's a quote, if it's a form that they have to fill out, just make it very easy for them to immediately jump in on that form and fill it out, but also give them some information on the process of that consultation, or whatever service that is. Tell them exactly what you're going to do. Treat every single person that hits your website almost as your 3rd grader, right? Because again, most people are smart. However, websites are still a little bit new, and a lot of websites are very hard to navigate. Make yours very easy. It's actually going to help you in the long run with SEO. Finally, let's plan your content. And this is a real fun part. After optimizing your main navigation page with those fringe and the core keywords on your home page, what you want to do is create content. And I know a lot of you are probably groaning or mad about this one. I get it. The king is content, and the king of content is blog. Writing a blog is not dead. Writing a blog is more important right now than it has ever been in probably my entire life at the very least. Because content is really going to be what lands people on your site. And a blog is effective because it keeps people on your site. It creates almost a web of information in order to inform people regarding your services and your products. And it provides value towards that sale, which in essence is a click away. They just have to click that service or click that product, and you can sell it right off the blog. So keep that in mind when planning your content. So when you're creating good content, keep in mind to these 7 things. First off, relevance. All of your content should be relevant to the products and services that you're offering. A lot of people like to write blogs about a whole lot of different stuff. Sometimes it may be great to put that word out there, but at the same time, you want to make sure that it's relevant to the products and services that you're selling, because then Google's going to get confused. Okay, they're writing blogs about this, like say for instance, they're writing blogs about sermons, but they're really an author. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I can see the flip-flop where it's pretty similar, but you want to make sure that you get back to that core concept of really what your website is trying to do, which is to sell products and sell services. Quality and depth. The more informative you are specifically on information intent, the better. Even on your products and your services, getting into the nitty-gritty about what each product does and what your services are supposed to accomplish, with clear headings, subheadings, paragraphs, and even some lists here and there are going to improve readability, which allows people to spend a lot more time on the page and navigate to that call to action a lot easier. And it's going to avoid that thin and shallow content that is really just going to be that's really not going to provoke an action, right? Readability and structure, I kind of just mentioned that with the clear headings, subheadings, and paragraphs, because you will kind of want to flow to your content. Again, I'm not saying write a two-page paper on every single one of your products. Stay clear, stay concise, but make sure that information has quality, has depth, and structured well so that people can easily read it quick. Split large paragraphs, make some sentences easier to read, and just make sure that the people that may not be keyed in on your industry or on your particular services understand kind of what you're getting at. Keep your content original. A lot of people right now are falling into this trap where they are writing their content with AI tools. And don't get me wrong, it's supposed to make your lives easier. However, if you write your entire content with AI tools, don't publish it. You need to make changes. You need to make it easier to read. And right now, Google's algorithm favors fresh, original content that has quality and depth, relevance, readability, and it penalizes websites with repetitive material, and even now, AI-generated material as well. Keyword optimization, same thing. What you really want to do is find a way to incorporate your keywords into the meta description and the meta title, similar to any other page. But you also want to see if you can fit it into one of your headings, maybe put it into the body text within the first 100 words, or even put it as a caption on one of your photos. This is what's known as alt text. And it really goes a long way to helping Google understand the photos that are on the content. But you really want to make sure that you use that main keyword, the question that you're answering, and include a lot of those amplifying keywords that we've talked about that are keywords that are similar. So if you're writing a specific blog about striper fishing, maybe you talk about fluke fishing or trout fishing or a specific type of pole that's best for it, or the boats or the motors that you use, just to keep it kind of concise, but also include some other potential routes that people could take on your website. And then the last two, the most important one is regular updates. If you don't do any of this, and you only do one of them, the most important is regular updates. Keep your content up to date and make absolutely sure you're consistent with publishing content. Because websites that sit for a very long time, just like if you're someone who knows or who owns a car and you leave it out in the rain for days and days and days and days, what happens? It rusts. It gets forgotten about. Plants grow all over it. Same thing with websites. Do not let your website just sit there. Change it consistently. That's going to help with your SEO.
Okay, we had a number of questions that came in, Matt. Maybe this is a good point to take some of them.
Absolutely.
And folks, the ones that have come in more about specific website builders and services, we'll get to at the end.
Yep.
Do you have any recommendations for keyword finders?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot of the paid ones actually have free trials, but the best one by far that I would say is free. It does have a limit. It is called Answer the Public. Answer the Public. Another great one is called SEMrush. Another one that's great is Ubersuggest. All of these are really good, but the easiest way to find good keywords, guys, is to type in a basic keyword into your Google. And I mean, I could even showcase this process to you, but what you want to do is type in a basic keyword. Maybe it's interior design, right? Right into Google. Then what you want to do is go all the way to the bottom, and it's going to say related searches. Related searches, that's a great way to find keywords, because those are people that are looking for interior design, but there are other searches that include that keyword, but are long tail or related searches. So it may be interior design near me. It may be interior design Chatham. It may be summer interior design. It may be apartment interior design. And then you can even click that and repeat the step, go all the way to the bottom and see the related searches, and keep doing that until you find the keywords that you really want. The tools, all you really have to do is go to Answer the Public or SEMrush and just type in the keyword, and it's going to give you a few, maybe I think 3 maximum opportunities to kind of search for keywords. It's pretty limited. The best way to find good keywords is through that Google technique. If you don't want to do that, an SEO technician would be happy to pull up a few keywords and help you with SEO foundations for your site. Because the keywords are really what's going to be the most important thing for you ranking.
You mentioned, Matt, an 8 times use limit. Is that per page or is it overall? How does it work in a blog?
Great question. So that is per page. I would, again, 8 is the absolute maximum. I try to keep it down to 4 or 5. For blogs, really what you want to do is you want to keep it to around 4 or 5 as well. And if you do get to, say, for instance, a few of the keywords that you're using include the keyword that you're writing, the niche keyword within, like some of the amplifying keywords. And again, amplifying keywords are related keywords that aren't exactly the focus keyword of the blog. So again, striper fishing, deep sea striper fishing, Cape Cod striper fishing. See how they include striper fishing at the end? That's another occurrence of your niche keyword. However, it may make a lot more sense because you're including those related keywords. And that's the situation that I would say you can go up to 8 or even 9 at the very maximum. But you just want to keep an eye on that blog. And if you're really not seeing a whole lot of movement, maybe take 1 or 2 occurrences out of there and see what happens then.
What's a minimum for publishing? Is once a month enough?
Once a month is fine. Again, consistency. You just want to make sure that you're consistently either making new content or updating old content. You don't have to be a content farm. You do not have to write a piece of content every week. You'll actually get penalized. Again, Google is mean. Google is not easy to please. So if you write 1 good piece of content a month, that's perfect. Just make sure once a month you also go back to your old pieces of content and see if there's any changes that you need to make, because sometimes you put information that was relevant for 2 months ago that isn't relevant anymore. You just need to make sure to change those.
Last question that we'll get to, and then we'll take some more at the end. So does blogging work for all industries? I'm in construction, so how would that work as far as content?
Yeah.
I use social media using the before and after tactic. So I'm interested in how blogging would work.
That's a great question. So again, blogging may not work for every industry. However, you need to get creative with it. So for instance, I actually work with a client who is a hardscaper or a landscaper. And one of the best things that a lot of people are looking for, specifically within construction, is examples. People love examples. People want to see the potential to what they're envisioning so that they can start matching. So one of the easiest things that you can do is think about the materials or the particular products that you're bringing to life with your construction company and find examples of that being used. So like maybe trusses or pillars, 10 examples of pillars that we've instituted in houses. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be yours. It's just, again, the ability to create those examples, because people are going to see that blog and say, oh, that's exactly what I want. Seems like these guys are able to do that. Let me get in touch with them. Let me give them a call. That's where your quote button or your call button's right at the top of the screen. Click it and you're in touch with them. That's one way to do it. The most important thing with content is to just get creative, see what questions and take the questions that you're hearing every single day and say, you know, I could actually make a resource for people that need that and put it on my website. And then that's how you should be building your content. I hope that helped. Final thing I want to talk about real quick is local SEO. Wherever you are in Massachusetts, you're competitive. You're in a competitive market. For instance, here's a picture of Manhattan and all the pizza places in Manhattan. Do you think that's all the pizza places in Manhattan? No freaking way. No way. It's probably just maybe 2%. However, those are the people that have optimized SEO. So if you take anything from today's SEO webinar, if you do not have a Google My Business profile, you should absolutely build one, because that's going to give you access to the greatest keyword of all time, near me. Something near me. Interior designer, near me. Near me by far is the highest driver of traffic for any business. If you get a near me keyword and you're number one, it's going to completely change the dynamic of your entire business. So what you want to focus on is putting your locations on your website where you can, on your contact page, your homepage, or your about page, and building a Google My Business or a Google Business profile out to include your services and consistently add reviews, photos, and different blog posts as updates in order to do the same thing that you're doing on your website on your Google My Business. And I promise you guys, it will have an immense effect on how you run your business. But yeah, we can stop right there. I mean, we definitely have some monitoring, but we can talk about that a different day. There's a whole lot in SEO. I appreciate you guys for sitting down, but I'd be happy to answer any last minute questions, if that's okay, Jim.
Yeah, I actually think it's a very good idea. Because there are a bunch of questions that have come in. We'll try to answer as many of those as we can.
Yeah, let's speed run them.
Somebody said, how do I get my business on Google Maps and to show up on iPhone Maps?
I'm really glad you said that. Make a Google Business profile. It's super easy. Just type in Google Business Profile on Google and build your business. That's all you have to do. It will show up on Google Maps. That's the easiest way to do it. Another thing is schema markup. Not going into that today. That is an absolutely grueling topic, and we'll cover it a different day.
Somebody said, I've been working with Yola and happy with the value for 10 plus years, but not sure how effective it is for driving customers to our holistic website establishment.
Yeah, a lot of listings like that. That's something that we didn't have time to talk about today. That's what's known as a backlink or a listing backlink, which is really just your business on a different website. I'm sure that it probably has an effect on your search engine backlinking network, which is good. But one of the things that I would say is just make sure that you check in pretty consistently and see if it's really driving the traffic that you want. And yeah, I think that really goes for Yelp, built-in, Upcity, et cetera, Travel Advisor, all those.
Does a frequently asked questions section or page a good substitute for a blog?
Yes. Yes. Frequently asked questions is an FAQ is almost 100% crucial for most businesses, because again, that's taking all of your most important questions and putting them into one piece of content. However, I would take that FAQ and for each one of those questions, if it deserves it, write a piece of content on it. Because some people may have further questions. And what's the biggest slice of inertia for any business is people asking questions on that initial booking call, people asking questions on that initial email thread. Get those questions right out of the water and find out whether or not that customer is built for you by answering their questions right up front.
Google keeps calling. I think they want money, which is not in my budget, and it's annoying. How do I, so what is that all about? And how do I make sure my GPS is correct?
Yeah, so Google calling you and asking you for money, they will never do that. That's probably a scam call, so be very careful. However, the only reason they may be doing that is if you have an active Google Ads account. I don't think that they would call you though. So just make sure that you log into your Google account that you use for your business and go to Google Ads and just log in and make sure that you don't have an active ads account, but they will not be spending any extra money besides your ad budget. So you will not lose money and have to pay them back over time. So chances are it's just a scam call. Just be very careful of that.
What if your domain is not in Google's index? How do you get your domain into their index and search engine?
Yeah, that's something that I would recommend looking into an SEO technician for. The easiest way to make sure and to really look at it is through a tool called Google Search Console. It's completely free. Anyone can use it. The most important thing that you need to do on there is to upload your sitemap. That's an SEO technician's job. It's not super hard. You can even Google how to upload my sitemap to Google Search Console. It'll give you a step-by-step. But that's something that SEO technicians like me are on every single day, because indexing is a major issue. And that's also going to show you all your mobile and your page issues. That's slowing down your SEO progress. But yeah, I would definitely look into Google Search Console on that one.
If I have a gallery with examples, photos of my job, should I leave them without description, or should I write a description for every photo?
You don't have to write a description for every photo, but depending on what web builder you have, what you absolutely should do is you should look and edit the photo and see if there's a space to put alt text, or as Wix calls it, tell Google what this photo is. That's an opportunity for you to tell people what is in that photo and try to include a keyword that may work from that photo. Say, for instance, if using that hardscape example again, say it's like an asphalt paved driveway. You would want to put asphalt paved driveway in this town, right? Or in Chatham, Mass, because that's going to give you asphalt paved driveway near me. And that photo is going to show up in that search results page.
Can you post the same content to your website and Google page, or do they need to be unique?
Yeah, so I would say this: post the unique blog to your website, and then on your Google page, create an update and say some type of hook, right? Lots of our customers ask us, what are the 3 most important things to do in this situation? Here's what we pulled up, and here's the 3 examples that we wanted to make sure that you knew before you did business with, etc. And right under there, there's going to be a button, and you're allowed to kind of choose that call to action, whether it be buy now, learn more, book now, etc. Just put learn more and then the link to your blog. And whenever someone sees that update, they can click learn more, and it's going to go right to your blog. So that way you just have that content now, rather than just being on your website, it has a link right from Google.
I'm an artist with studio space in an artist building. Does it make sense for people to know my location on Google?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. And the beautiful thing about art too is you actually have an amazing advantage over businesses similar to the ones we're talking about, like the bait shop, the construction. Same thing with the interior designer that we were talking to. You guys have a portfolio, actually construction too. You have a bunch of examples. Every single one of those pictures or those photography photos or anything that you add to your portfolio, put on Google My Business as well. Because again, it's the first thing a lot of people are going to see. And if you have a location, people are going to want to know how to get to you besides just your website. If you are an online website only or an online business only, you don't need a Google My Business profile. It would definitely help, but you're not in a local area. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I offer consulting services with no public office. How best to include my business address? I do not want my home address available.
Yeah, see, that's the exact example. I would say you really don't need a Google My Business. It's definitely going to affect your local SEO. If what you could do, there are a few specific workarounds. Is if you do want a Google My Business profile, what I would do is I'd see if there's a partner nearby that you could even just have a mailbox. Don't use a PO box. They will not use that as an opportunity anymore. But see if there's a way that you can have a public address where even if it's just using a conference room at a business that you know pretty well for so many days a week or whatever it may be, that's the easiest way to do it, because now you have to prove ownership of wherever your address is. And I also work from home. So my business, I have my own office that I'm there for maybe 1 or 2 days. And that's the business address that I have on Google. But I don't want to put my home. And I suggest you don't put your home unless you're taking appointments in your home. That would be a time to use your home address.
Which Google actually doesn't like you to do anyway.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, Google, if you're an online business, you should not make a Google business profile, because Google will find out and they'll rip it right down.
How does one utilize endorsements and recommendations for SEO?
So if there are recommendations off of a particular site, say for instance, SEMrush gives you recommendations, or if I'm giving you recommendations, SEMrush is going to give you specific things to change on your site that you can. However, a lot of times it's going to be within the back end of the site. And that's the dangerous part, because those technical SEO fixes are the ones that are really going to be the ones that it would be worth hiring an SEO consultant or an SEO technician on. There are some tools out there that'll give you step-by-step guides on how to fix certain things. So what I would do is I would look on your knowledge base on whatever website builder you're using. I hope I'm answering this question. Is this the recommendations you mean? Just throw it in the chat. But it will basically just give you a step-by-step on how to fix certain things. And you can look that fix up on the knowledge panel on whatever website builder, and it'll tell you a step-by-step guide on hopefully how to fix it. And if it's not there, then it's something that you have to have some type of web developer do for you.
They live in a small town. Should I put my small town, and would that show up as near me, or how do I get more exposure?
Yeah, adding the small town, Google's not going to let you do that. What you could do is this. There's 2 different types of Google business profiles, right? You have appointment-based and you have a service-based. So you could actually add your small town if you do house calls. So for instance, our construction friend that asked a question earlier, he probably does work at specific places within a service area. So he can put a Google My Business account there he could put his office, or if he didn't want to put his office, he could just say, I work in this general service-based area, if he drives to that place and back. If it's an online consulting firm, chances are you usually have to do your address, but you could get away with having a service-based area if it's your small town. That's one way, that's one potential workaround. It may not be best practices, but you could definitely try it.
Okay, we're bumping up against time, folks. I will make sure that any questions that we didn't get to, I get you responses in the next couple of days. I will tell you that we're expecting to do a little bit more, another session on SEO, which will go into a little bit more depth of things, because I know that this was a lot of material, and it's a very important area for people. And thank you, Matt, for doing this for us. I will be sending out the link to the recording. I'll also include the slides. If you have further questions, the best thing to do is after you get that email from me, you will have my address, my email address at SCORE, which is jim.danhauser@scorevolunteer.org. Send me those follow-up questions, and I will get them to Matt and get you answers as time permits. So thanks, everybody, for participating. I hope you gained a lot from it. And we look forward to talking to you again in the future. Matt, thanks a bunch.
Thanks so much, guys. Jim, thanks again, as always. I really appreciate you guys coming out this morning. And yeah, I'd be happy to answer any ongoing questions. But enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.